Adrienne Wood and her family moved there.
Yay, that's right. There's a few
years ago.
We're doing a little trolley tour.
Right, you'll see the Iredell House. He was one of the first Supreme Court justices in the state. Just to the right of the Iredell House, you will see a house that is the one that Adrienne and I did the live tour through. It is on the market. This one? Yep. For $1 million. The one next to it has also just been listed for sale in the high nines. Interestingly, both of these people are going to build houses on family farmland.
And this was family farmland back in the day, right?
Well, this has always been the town, right?
Oh.
So whether you know or not, I don't know. Edenton was the first capital of the colony of North Carolina before New Bern, and now, obviously, Raleigh as you know it. We were a bustling shipping port. The inlets and our proximity to the ocean has changed over the years, and we are no longer in a position that would be feasible. Our largest industries now are agriculture and agricultural-based things. Boat building is big here. The hospital and the school system are both other large employers. The house on the right is Beverly Hall. It was built in 1810 as a bank. It is being lived in by the 4th or 5th generation of the same family, and they still have a vault in the living room. They are very generous with their house. It's open often for public tours. Not like just open this house for the day, but like the Christmas tour or the pilgrimage tour of homes. They're generous with opening it. Across the street is Pembroke Hall. It's also a private home, and that's about all I'll say about that.
And then this one, tell him who lives here.
To the right is my home when I win the Mega Billions.
Okay. Oh, that's Jennifer's future home.
Wessington. It is a private home sold within the past about a year. If any of you went to Edenton Med Spa when you went to Lori's, Heather that you met lives there. And what's a really sweet story, Heather's father passed away. She and her mom were living in different towns. They each sold their respective homes and bought this in Edenton together. So when you look at a house that big and you think, oh gosh, what the price tag goes out on that, when you think of it as what's now a combined property for two families, it's seems more reasonable, right? There are living space on the bottom floor that has like an independent kitchen and living room and bathroom and laundry situation, and then the younger family and their kids live upstairs. We are on Blunt Street. In Edenton, the rarest type of property is something that is both downtown and on the waterfront, and that's what we have in this short block. You will notice that most of downtown Edenton's waterfront is public space, which adds value to the depth of the community when the waterfront space is a space such that everyone can enjoy. You'll see that there are 2 parks located along our waterfront, and there are often family reunions and birthday parties and festivals and the like held there. The contemporary house we just passed is the reason that we have historic district in place, they say. It was built in the 70s. You probably couldn't get away with that anymore. This house on the right dates 1772. You will see 1700 houses in Edenton all the way up to 1900s, and then a few newer speckled in. If you look to the left, the water that you see is Edenton Bay, and we do swim and boat and carry on those waters. People say, do you swim in that water? And I say, I still have 10 fingers and 10 toes, and I've been swimming in it for 47 years. People ask why it's the color it is. That's because there's so many trees on our shoreline, and the tannins in the roots of the trees color the water.
I'll be darned.
It is a sandy bottom. We are in Pembroke Circle, which was a neighborhood built by the government in World War II. There was a Marine base in Edenton, and this neighborhood was built as officers' quarters. The house that you see on the right is typical of the houses that were in this neighborhood. They have been transformed over the years to meet the needs of the owner. The house on the left is where Adrienne lives now. I say this is like a Hollywood, like when somebody flies you down and cons you into buying a famous star tour. I'm going to tell you where Adrienne, the celebrity, lives.
Did she just buy this one?
And the house on the right is the one that she just bought and is redoing as a rental. A great opportunity for her to own the little house right across the street. During 2003, Edenton was walloped by Hurricane Isabel. The storm stalled over us and we were stuck on the northeast corner. We do not have a lunar tide here. We have only a wind tide, which means the water depth changes with the direction of the wind. When we were stuck on the northeast corner of the storm, Isabel brought an 8-foot wall of water in here. This area that we're sitting in now was the most vulnerable to flooding. So the little houses that were like this on both sides have been torn down because they were damaged so during Isabel. If you built new since then, you had to build 8 feet above sea level for CAMA guidelines. There was this open lot that you see had 2 houses on it. It is now owned by a neighbor, so no plans to be built on at this point. That house is new. This house is new.
This house is gone.
Somebody's getting ready to build here. And the house that you see on the left is an original World War II officer's house that they raised and kept only the shell and have redone completely.
Huh.
This area is the only area in downtown Edenton that is not old enough to be a part of our historic district. Prices in downtown Edenton in today's market are going to range from probably $3 if it's habitable and in good enough condition to move right in, all the way up to in the less than $2 million. But there are some listed at $1 million. We don't have much of $1 million market.
Don't sit on me. What about that house, Mary Scott? Isn't that your kinfolk over there?
That was my great aunt's house. A nice couple moved here from Colorado. They had a long list of properties that was going to be a second home. And I said, that's my great aunt's house. Great aunt's house. It was on the market. I said, and it's probably too big of a project to manage from somewhere like Colorado. I mean, it needed to be totally redone. So I didn't put it on our tour. And at the end, we had seen everything. And I said, no, we have some extra time. I'll take you in my just want to see it. It has like wide floorboards. Some full-time home. They bought and restored the building that Surf, Wind, and Fire is renting. They also bought and redid the herringbone. So they came to Edenton as newcomers and have jumped in with both feet and their whole body and absolutely love it here. We're fortunate that they have made this their home. So ahead you'll see a nice view of Edenton Bay. Again, classified as a fresh body of water. If you know about water flow, mountains have rivers that flow to sounds that flow to the ocean. Depending on the amount of rainfall that we have over a period of time, the ocean can back up into the sounds and the rivers. Like I said, I've been here all my life. I'd heard that people had seen porpoises way out in the sound. I never believed it until about 5 years ago when I saw one myself. As you've probably seen on our videos over the past 5 years, they've increased their presence here over the summer. So now we were seeing them all the time this summer in the bay. I was asking a marine fisheries guy about it, and he said, we'll probably have a rainy couple years, and then it'll be 25 or 30 years before you'll ever see them again. So this is not native home, but they're chasing food sources up here as salinity rises. The Arts Council on the left is a great spot to stop at. Our library has programming for both children and adults. And on the left is our cupola house. I'm going to give you a signal. I don't know what I've said and what I haven't, so if I start to repeat, catch my eye and just give me and I'll stop. The cupola house was owned by 2 sisters who met hard times financially. A group of Edenton women got together and bought the house and preserved it, opened it to the public. The gardens are open and maintained by a group called the Wednesday Weeders. Any men and women who like to garden can show up there on Wednesday morning and help take care of the gardens. Did I tell you about Penelope Parker?
No.
Okay, her house was just on the right. You're going to have an opportunity to see it in a minute. It's also a visitor center. It's called Edenton's Living Room. Penelope was the home. Penelope was the Edenton Tea Party. It happened about the same time as the Boston Tea Party was organized and executed solely by women. 51 women signed against taxation without representation. In Boston, the Tea Partiers hid their identity. They did not want to be recognized. In Edenton, they did want to be recognized. The women did not wear costumes. They were made great fun of by people in England. There were all these cartoons drawn, thinking how crazy it was that these women in Edenton thought that they could do anything about anything that was going on. It put Edenton on the map as the first colonies. We say Edenton is, and always. We adopted the teapot as our official town symbol, and the official on the left side that you're seeing right now. Sitting at Christmas caroling on the green, you can have a picnic, you can take a nap. It's everybody's to use. The courthouse that overlooks the green was built in 1767. It's one of only 2 places outside of Raleigh that the North Carolina Supreme Court can meet. Occasionally, Supreme Court will meet here so that it maintains its status as an active courthouse. The second floor is a beautiful ballroom, also available for private events, so it really is used. The view that you're getting ready to see as we reach the bottom of the courthouse green is the water side of Penelope Barker's home. It's the most photographed view in Edenton. The trees that you see out in the water are cypress trees. That was not land that eroded and now the trees are left. Those are slow-growing trees that actually do grow in the water. They say outgoing ships would hide bottles of liquor in the roots of these trees to trade among each other. Blackbeard was the pirate, visited these waters and sailed in and out of Edenton. So the Edenton Bay is just this little bowl of water. It is a part of the sound.
Okay.
So we call the bay the bowl that you see right here. The bridge off on the right is a bridge that goes over to Hayes Plantation. It was home of Samuel Johnson, who was one of the earliest governors of our colony. Samuel's son had no children, so he willed the farm to the woods. His best friend and maybe a cousin who was a distant cousin of Thomas's. Until January this year, the farm remained in Wood family ownership, but in January they sold the main house and outbuildings to the state of North Carolina, which I'm sure was a bittersweet decision, but a lucky one for those of us who live in Edenton because it went from the Woods house to all of our house. It will be open to the public and saved for future generations, and we'll all be able to enjoy the land around it. It has a sandy shore, so we'll be able to swim and boat there. It really was a gift on their part to the town and the state. The creek that we just went by is Queen Anne's Creek. It goes over a mile up. It's beautiful for canoeing and kayaking and bird watching. The slate gray building on the right was a train station turned into a private home. It still has the ticket window in it. And as we turn, we enter the Cotton Mill Village. It was a working cotton mill until around 1990. When Unify, the company that operated at High Point, shut it down and sent production overseas. As we cross over these railroad tracks, this is the official start of the mill, and what we're in is called Supervisor's Road. The turquoise house on the left was from the county. It was moved here. It's featured in This Old House magazine twice, and the house beside it is what we call an infill house. It was built on a lot that either had something beyond saving or moved or burned down. So it's built to look like it's always been there. This is Supervisor's Row. This is where the higher ups in the mill would have lived. And you can see the houses on the right back up to Queen Anne's Creek. The green space on the left is the mill village's baseball diamond. Every mill would have had its own baseball team. This is our baseball diamond, and it's now protected green space. I call it Edenton's unofficial dog park because you see a lot of puppies running around out there. The brick building on the right was the mill building itself. The bricks for this building were made on site here by Edenton Brick Company. And there are a number of houses around town that were made by bricks made from the Edenton Edenton Brickworks. I happen to live in one of them. This mill building has 30 units. They range in price from the 2s probably up to the 7s or 8s. Vary greatly in square footage. They're really stunning spaces. They feature original maple floors, exposed brick walls, these huge arch segmented windows. It's really a neat residential project, restoration and reuse project. It is the only condos that afford you the opportunity to walk downtown. The little houses that you see around called the Mill Village. If you see one that's cedar shaped, like the one in the middle over here, that's a Sears and Roebuck kit house that came ordered and assembled on site. These houses that were built by the mill were rented to the workers. If you see a house that has 2 front doors, that's because all of these were built as duplexes. Each family had 2 rooms and shared a kitchen on the back. They are all now single family, but there are very tight covenants on this village to maintain the visual integrity as it's always been. The houses max out at 1,500 square feet, and these demand the highest price per square foot of anything in Edenton. I helped somebody buy one about a year ago at $365,000. I told them that they were overpaying. It was too much money. The highest we'd ever seen here before was $325,000, and we thought that was crazy. The people knew what they were doing. They moved here from Charleston, where you couldn't get anything for $300,000, and it was worth it to them. The definition of value is what something is worth to you. And they knew exactly what they were doing. They wanted a historic home within walking distance of the town and the water that would be easy to maintain, easy to lock up and leave. And not only did they buy that house for $365,000, they immediately poured a ton of money in it and created what is their perfect little matchbox. You know, everything in it is as high end as you can get. And for them, they said, okay, we have $400,000 in this house, but it's exactly what we want. And anywhere else that we've lived, we couldn't get this for near that. So it's worth it to us, right? I must have been wrong when I told them that, because somebody in here I hear is getting ready to list for sale by owner for $425,000.
I met a realtor the other day. She offered to show us some houses.
I've already heard.
I said, no, thank you.
She tried to get on the Amber came and tried to get on this bus tour.
Amber.
Yes. So last night she
Where
said,
is Amber?
This is my frenemy realtor. I really like her. She works for another company. We get along well.
My friend.
She said, did you see that I rented the porta potty? I sponsored the porta potty. She said, I'm going to horn in on your crowd. I said, I said, mm-mm. I said, that's really good, Amber. I said, these people don't want a crappy realtor.
Oh, God, so funny.
She tried to get on a bus tour, and they waited through one whole tour to try to get the next one. I was like, there's no room. I said, I'm not giving her my goods.
No. We love Amber.
I'm getting ready to. So everything that you see on the left, that's why my wonderful friend Shannon stopped, is the Jackson Dairy. This is a new development being done by Down East Preservation, a company that has a wonderful asset to town, preserving and restoring historic homes. In a new venture for them, they purchased just over 9 acres on what was an original dairy farm owned by the Jackson family. Sticking with truth and the history, they have named it the Jackson Dairy. And in somewhere between 2 and 3 years, there'll be 30 home sites here. Prices range from $200,000 to $550,000. They will put in a crosswalk across Church Street, and it will be easy via sidewalk to walk to downtown Edenton from here. Everywhere we go on this bus tour today is considered walkable to town. You'll see they're just putting infrastructure in. Our very own Ruth Ann and Bobby Ray Toxie are on lot number 1, house number 1 at the Jackson Dairy. Oh.
And they just started digging this dirt up pretty recently,
Oh
right?
my gosh, I told the last group that I'm coming here with Cecilia.
Well,
and
I
this
just thought
four-wheeler.
Amos would love this.
Oh my God. We are going to come to this mud pit. I mean,
Four-wheeler.
I'm like dying to get in it.
We can do that tomorrow afternoon.
Doesn't it look fun?
Yeah, but
Well,
God,
if you get early snow, that'd be a great hill for snow sledding.
yeah. Hopefully it'll be moving down by then.
Yes, the Sallows will stay as the centerpiece of the community. There's an artist who lives in Greenville that creates animals out of found metal. And I drove by on the way to some of my million sports events that I follow my children all over eastern North Carolina to. I passed these sculptural cows. And I called Dawson and said, y'all have got to get these, like, architecturally interesting cows to put under the sirens.
Are they going to?
He says so. You never know.
Oh, now it's really raining. This is a good day for a tour.
Yep.
Tour. And that's Sprules. They do all my printing, which I love them. Unless Mary Scott does it. I try to use Sprules so she doesn't get tired of me.
So up on the right, just when we cross the railroad tracks, you're going to see an example of what Down East Preservation does around Edenton. You'll see a house that looks like a bunch of matchsticks standing up with windows attached to it. That's a property that they're working on. And in the end, you'll never know it hasn't been beautiful since the day she was initially built. I think that might be Paul behind us.
Oh, really?
Look back. Does anybody recognize him?
Doesn't look like his name, but then again, I can't see it.
No.
I don't think it's him.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Down East Preservation has restored about 6 houses in this corridor, including what you see on your right now,
That's beautiful.
which was the commercial district for those people who lived in the cotton mill. Their market, meat shop, things like that. It became the ugliest commercial building in Edenton. At some point, somebody tried to connect those 3 buildings with like vinyl and patchwork roof. I mean, it was awful. And Down East took it back to the original freestanding structures they were, and it's now their office and design center, etc. I do have a cute little listing right there for sale. That's $389. Somebody in the group is staying there.
Oh, wow.
Airbnb.
I didn't know that was for sale. That is really cute.
That's what I said.
It's got a
One
garage.
lot back that we're not passing. A gentleman owned a rental
Wow,
property.
that's
He was
nice.
doing some work on it. They saw some historic things that indicated it might need a little discovery, so they called Reed Thomas from the State Preservation Group in Raleigh. He came down and they believe it is the oldest house in North Carolina. Wow. On the right is Swain School, former elementary school. It's now been turned into apartments. You have to qualify to live there. I don't know if it's economic or disabilities. I think it might be
I think
a
it's
combination of
both. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I think, a combination of both.
And
There's a senior center down that's very active in the bottom. It has a gym that senior citizens can use for free, so a lot of people go there. They also plan trips, and it also holds our town auditorium. It's the biggest auditorium in the county.
And they do lunch and dinner for like $2 a person, and it's
At
good.
the senior center.
how do I find out if I qualify?
Take a picture of the sign and call whoever it says on there.
Is this house being redone? Oh,
It is.
Well, I might qualify. My daughter does. I thought I might qualify. So she looks at me all serious and says, Mom, you could just go there.
That's the post office.
On the right is our post office, and we also just passed the Iredale House, another house open to the public for people to visit. There, they have a lot of demonstrations during the year, like how to dye fabric in the old days, how to make candles, things like that. You'll see school groups touring the grounds. Just ahead on the right is the farmers market. It's open every Saturday all year round, and they add Wednesdays during the growing season.
We did some damage there.
Did you?
Good.
Y'all visited.
Good.
It closes at noon. On the left is St. Paul's, where Adrian and I go to church, and it's where Adrian teaches Sunday school.
Now, why are y'all laughing? I just stopped. 9 years.
You do get some credit for showing up
Yes.
to breakfast.
It's where Adrian goes to breakfast now.
Most of you go to Sunday breakfast at a greasy spoon. Adrian goes to Sunday breakfast at church and then goes home.
You're pushing it. You're pushing it.
So all of those, yes, this is Paul's house on the left, identified by devout follower.
That's right.
No, I know you, Ann. You didn't have to show me your name. I just wanted to call you out. Who came from Canada?
Then there's the exciting Airbnb we were in last year.
Oh, yes.
Mercy. This
Look,
is an
there's
Airbnb
people in there.
where, one night on a golf cart, Adrian found out some people were staying there, and she let herself in the back door. They were my mother's clients who had bought the house, and my mother spoke to me like I was 4. And I was like, "You are in trouble." I was like, "I'm not in trouble. I didn't do anything. I stayed on the golf cart. It's purely Adrian."
Oh, it's funny.
Oh, Lord.
So dramatic.
That's also the same house that used to have a beautiful original door that does not anymore. We had a ramjack and somebody else.
Oh,
Yeah. We figure our name is like Dan. Like, what am I saying?
Oh, Adrian.
So this is my street. This is where I've lived since I was 4. I live in the brick house on the left. My children are the 4th generation there. It was my grandparents, and I moved there when I was 4. And Ted and I moved there the year after we were married, and now I have my kids there.
Right behind Paul.
I'm sorry?
Are you like right behind Paul?
I am. Paul and I have a friend gate, so we're catty corner.
Friend gate.
Thank you.
So somebody mentioned the church that Amos likes. Is that?
It's outside of town.
Okay.
So we're back on Broad Street. I can walk to church. People are like, "Have you heard that song on the radio?" I'm like, "No, I can't even get through one line with my commute." My office is right there.
We're still live.
That's the Episcopal Church. That's the same one that we went up down the other side of where I said Adrian and I go there.
I toured that today.
Well, you can go in anytime, and we have a service at 11 tomorrow. You can sit with me if you come. There's,
She'll be felting. And that's the bridge turn. That's where I go.
So again, downtown is active because of the lack of big box retailers. So you'll see we have a movie theater that gets first run films. Amelia's is a great sandwich spot next door. It's where the Diva is. For a town this size, we have a lot of good shopping with not a lot of open storefronts. The 2 that are most noticeably open are what used to be Sears and Belk Towers. And the problem with filling those is there's not many mom and pop businesses that can use that much square footage. So hopefully someone will think outside the box and come up with something to use those spaces. A Still Life that Adrian's popping in is a beautiful store. And I probably wrote about that on my blog if any of you read it. I had 2 people who lived in Edenton who were both looking at that building. And I didn't worry about it because looking means nothing, right? And as I could tell that each were getting more serious, I decided to go on a limb and ask if I could reveal one party to the other. And they told me yes. And in the span of about a week, they were moving forward with a plan to have a business together.
So is that when you did the culinary and
Yes.
Still Life?
So 2 businesses that were both established in Edenton joined in that building and really complement each other well.
It is a wonderful
It's so
lunch.
good.
Yeah.
She is a phenomenal chef. She does cooking classes, so you can go participate and then eat what you've cooked. It's really good.
That's where your gift bags came from. Polka Dot
Home
Palm.
and
There's
the
the
coffee
coffee
shop,
shop.
the spots. And I always say
Shoe
the
store.
hardware store is where you go buy a pound of nails, a gallon of paint, a bicycle. It's where brides register for their fine china and sterling silver. And everybody in town has a charge account, so they bill you monthly.
And you and
On the left is Blunt's Pharmacy. They have wonderful fresh squeezed orangeade, lemonade, and limeades, ice cream cones. So stop in there. It's multi-generational pharmacy. On the left, you'll see a tan painted brick building. That's the trading company. Every Saturday night, they have vinyl night. And I say it's like happy hour for a seasoned crowd. It's not a real young crowd. But they have DJ Eddie and Melissa, who some of you may have met last night, who they play vinyl records. And I cannot tell you how many people that have come to Edenton and after visiting vinyl night say, I found my place and my people. That was more fun than I've had in a decade. So after Adrian's, that would be a fun place for y'all to pop in.
yeah.
Waterman's is our local Cheers. It's where everybody knows your name. They've been in business over 20 years. And now we are back at the venue.
Oh, thank you, Mary Scott.
My pleasure. Thank you. I love my town too.
That was so good. How many more tours do you
I
have?
have no idea.
Oh,
Hi.
that was a great route.
You like it?
Yeah, I thought it was perfect. Yeah,
Did you learn anything?
I learned a lot. I didn't know the water was brown because of tree roots.
Yeah.
Huh. I also didn't know you were the 4th generation in that house.
Yes, you did.
I don't think I knew your grandparents lived in there.
Are you serious?
There is a wall upstairs that she's wrote on. How old were you? Like 12?
I was 13.
And it's still, she's
12, I
it's
don't
like
know.
my name is Mary Scott.
My parents in the house were getting wallpaper, so my mom allowed
That's the
us
art
to write
spots.
on the wall under the wallpaper. And so I wrote this like, my name is Mary Scott. I am 11. My mom, and this blows my mind, it's like my mom is 37. I'm like, that's 10 years younger than I was.
Oh, God.
But anyway, I wrote like, I love this house. I hope we never, ever, 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 ever move.
So fun.
If
See you
we
later.
do,